Welcome, everybody, to today's webcast from the Community College President's Initiative in STEM Education Project. So while you're waiting and as you're entering, if you could just put your name in the chat box, and we'd like to know your name. We'd like to know your affiliation, what institution, and your position. If you're a faculty member, a dean, vice president, president, that would be helpful for us. Okay. We have people entering here. Okay, we got some AIs wanting approval here. Okay, we'll get started in just a minute. I have the top of the hour, but we'll let some folks trickle in here. And you're letting everybody in, Fran? Okay. All right, we're going to start at the top of the hour. Welcome to today's CCPI-STEM webcast entitled How Community Colleges Prepare Students with AI Workforce Competencies, which is part 5 in our AI and STEM education series. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Hawthorne, co-PI of the Community College President's Initiative in STEM Education, or CCPI-STEM for short. It is my pleasure to serve as today's CCPI-Cast moderator. This webcast is being recorded for placement on our website at ccipi-stem.org, along with our 20 other CCPI-Cast episodes. The presentation slides and recordings for all episodes are available from our website. Today's slides are already online if you would like them, and the recording will be available in a week to 10 days. Be sure to check back then. We will not send them out. While we are waiting to get started in just a few minutes, please make sure your audio is muted, and please type in the Zoom chat box your name, affiliation, and if you are a faculty or administrator, such as a dean, vice president, or president, or perhaps a grant writer. Also, as you think of them, please type your questions into the chat box. Dr. Blake Urbach will be monitoring the chat, and we will pause at specific time to answer those. Okay. Okay. All right. So we said all this before, but I'd like to tell you that we have another part coming up in our AI education series. And that will be about a month from now on Friday, April 17th, 2026 at the same time at 1 p.m. Eastern. So it is my pleasure to do a quick introduction of President Ann Kress from Northern Virginia Community College in Virginia, as well as President David Harrison of Columbus State Community College in Ohio. And I'll just have them introduce themselves as they present. And again, I was honored to serve as today's moderator. And I'm a senior professor emeriti of computer science and cybersecurity from Union County College in New Jersey before they changed their name to Union College. Okay, so today's topics, we're going to actually start with an opinion poll about AI, and then I will pass it over to President Kress to tell us how NOVA, or Northern Virginia Community College, is preparing students with AI workforce competencies. We'll pause at that for questions at that point, and then we'll pass it on to President Harrison to tell us what's going on at Columbus State Community College in regards to AI preparedness. Again, please place your questions in the chat, and Dr. Urbach will field those for you. And at the end, we have an evaluation poll to see how we're doing. So we appreciate you sticking around and doing that for us. So let me start the opinion poll. Here's number 1. I'm going to launch that. And if you all can take a few minutes to answer these quick questions, there's 5 of them and they're multiple choice. We'd appreciate that, and we will share the results. Okay. Blake, thumbs up. We can see the poll. Is the poll visible on the screen?
Yes, good to go.
Thank you. Okay. So far, nobody has answered any of the questions. We're just getting settled in here. The first question is, to what extent is AI currently integrated into STEM curricula at your institution? It's a multiple choice question. Okay, we got our first respondent. Thank you. I thought something was wrong with the technology. It's working. Okay, I know some people are just joining. Okay, we have people answering the poll. That's good. So if you are just joining, please participate in the poll. Hopefully you will be able to see the poll questions. There's 5 of them with regards to AI at your institution. And we'll be happy to share these results. Okay. All right. The numbers are going up, so this is good. We have 35% participation. So we'll leave it open for a few more minutes because we want to get to our presenters. Okay, 43% participation. Okay, they're rolling in now, over 50%. 56%. Okay, we can do this. And another minute, and then we'll close the poll. Okay, we're at 56% participation. And we have something in the chat there, Dr. Burback.
Nothing yet.
All right, 64%. I'm going to give a 5-second countdown and then I'm going to close the poll. So 64%, 24 out of 37 participants have participated. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 24 out of 39, 61%. Thank you very much. I'm going to end the poll. We'll do a quick share of the results. Okay. So first question, it looks like it's 58% limited pilot use of putting AI in your curriculum. Question 2, what are the biggest barriers? It looks like on quick, it looks like faculty expertise needs some professional development there. Question number 3, STEM education, how is it being used? And just quickly, 63% personalized learning or tutoring. 5, number 4, what concerns do you have about using AI in higher ed? And overwhelmingly, academic integrity at 71%. And last 5, it looks like, how important is AI competency for preparing post-secondary students for the future STEM workforce? And looks like it's a little bit split here. Very important at 58%, essential and 29%. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can get to our presenters. We will put those results out on with the slides so you can reference them if you like. All right, so before we get to President Kress, I'd just like to introduce this session with some reflections. Like the internet of 1990s, AI of the 2020s is a disruptive technology. It's a major societal paradigm shift that will not be denied. Today's CCPI-STEM will explore how top community college leadership is responding to this monumental shift in the emerging age of artificial intelligence. And without further ado, President Kress.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so proud of my long affiliation with the CCPI-STEM grant and think that this is such a wonderful project, especially at this moment. So I'm delighted to talk with you a little bit today about what NOVA is doing in preparing our students with AI workforce competencies. Just in case you don't know Northern Virginia Community College, we are, as our name suggests, we're in Northern Virginia. We have 6 campuses. We serve over 76,000 students. We are a comprehensive community college and offer everything from high school dual enrollment all the way through post-completion certificates, and I'll talk a little bit about those today as well. But I thought it was interesting, so I'm talking to you this afternoon. This morning, I started my morning at a day-long symposium that our student affairs group is having, since we're on spring break right now, around AI and emotional intelligence in student affairs. So when we think about preparing the workforce with these AI competencies, I think it's also important to recognize that some of that workforce is our workforce. And so we've been leaning into that as well at Nova, as I'm sure Columbus State has. So next slide. So I thought I would talk about first the career pathway programs that we have that intersect with artificial intelligence. Next slide. So how do we get there? So Nova has a robust learning labor market information sort of arm. We call it the Office of Strategic Insights. And within that, we've got folks who work with labor market intelligence, work with various products, but also run pulse surveys of the local business community to get a sense of where they are and how can we best support them. I also have a Future of Work Business Advisory Council that I meet with twice a year, really asking them to think about the horizon, asking them where AI is intersecting with their work. And this is across industry sector, whether it's healthcare, financial services, construction, all of that, including IT, sits at the table and helps us sort of think about where that puck is going so that we can be skating towards it. We also have program advisory councils for each one of our programs that are also asking the same questions of our industry partners. So when we think about what we're doing with career pathways and AI, we're really taking all of that information, whether it's labor market intelligence, this qualitative feedback, putting it in the hopper and trying to think through what's the best way we can support our students in being workforce ready, no matter what their program is. And it's one of the reasons why, next slide, we have focused on certificates. So we do not have a degree in AI because our conversations with the regional employers really stress that skill set level. So having these certificates that would be able to be buckled on to almost any degree provided to incumbent workers or accessible to individuals who've already completed a degree, whether at Nova or beyond. These short-term certificates seems to be the sweet spot for our labor market. We began this work more than a decade ago with a deep partnership with the U.S. Marine Corps around what used to be called machine learning. Right now we call it artificial intelligence, and then it became generative AI. But it really goes back to that roots of understanding what are those skill sets that employees are expected to have no matter what field they're working in. So we launched a certificate in artificial intelligence and data analytics in fall of 23. That enrollment has already more than doubled. So we've got about 225 students in that one certificate as of last fall, and we've already had 62 graduates over that short tracking period. Then we decided there's more skill sets that we're hearing from employers that students are going to need to be competitive. And it's really around those mathematical and data foundations. So in fall of 26, so in a few months, we'll be launching a new career studies certificate that is in computer science, and it's around algorithms and artificial intelligence. And so that is really looking at those emerging areas in data science. So again, when we talk to employers, for example, over the past week, I've had conversations with folks in construction, in healthcare, in human services, and in IT fields. What they're really looking for is folks who have that broader competency within that field of study, but then also can add on to that a deeper understanding of how to use existing AI tools, how to build those agents within agentic AI, how to make sure that the data is cleaned, how to build those sovereign data sets and data lakes so that within that field of study, say construction, you've got somebody who can help them reduce the number of injuries on a job site by mining that data and then building some algorithms around it. So this is really where we're looking at in terms of career pathways. We don't anticipate that we'll ever have an associate's in AI because we're just not hearing that demand from our regional workforce. Next slide. We also in Virginia have a robust set of industry recognized credentials through a program in Virginia that's called the Workforce Credentials Grant, or more colloquially, Fast Forward. So Fast Forward certifications have a number of sort of parameters on them. One is that they are industry recognized, so multiple employers will hire off of these particular certifications. They also need to be directly related to workforce needs in a community college's region. So for us, it's those 4 counties and 5 independent cities that we serve within Northern Virginia. They also need to be deliverable in less than 4 months. So these industry recognized credentials have been in place for quite some time, but over the past year, we're beginning to add some AI certifications to that pool, and they've been incredibly popular. These are typically taken by individuals who are already incumbent workers, who are seeing this as a value add to their competitiveness, or maybe in looking for a new job. So for example, with the dislocation in the federal workforce and government contractors beginning last January, we rolled out a program called Nova Next, leveraging Fast Forward, and it's the new employment exploration and training program. And the 2 top certifications that folks are trying to get, these are already individuals who've had long careers, but maybe have not kept current with the skill sets that might be needed in the private sector. So the top 2 skill sets are around project management and AI. So again, that tells you that when your potential students or your existing students are looking out at the job market, what they're seeing is that those AI skill sets really change their level of competitiveness. And then going into this spring, we'll launch even more Fast Forward certifications in AI in partnership with our longstanding great partner, Amazon Web Services. So we see this as a portfolio that's going to continue to grow for us, again, across disciplines. Next slide. So that's the last thing that I want to talk about, is that we're really focused not just on career pathways in computer science or IT, but how do we embed these sorts of credentials across the curriculum? Next slide. So when we look at our faculty and staff, we have been leveraging our Center for the Advancement of Teaching Excellence, CATE, to provide internal grants to faculty around and staff around some very specific skill sets. So one is, you hear a lot about academic integrity and AI, right? The 2 AIs go together. So we've been providing grants around the assessment of learning in the age of AI. So how can we continue to ensure academic integrity across the college by really thinking through what does it mean to assess learning at this point? We're also looking at AI incubator grants that really do support the integration of generative AI or machine learning into faculty courses. And then we wanted to get out of the IT or computer science space and incentivize faculty to develop micro-credentials within their disciplines. So what does that mean in practice? So a few examples, right? So with the integrating AI and into the curriculum, that incubator project, dental hygiene really was one of the first disciplines to step up, and they're designing their curriculum and various scenarios in their dental hygiene clinical experiences using a multilingual chatbot, so that when our students are working with patients, they have access to that so that they can give cutting edge support. And it's a chatbot that is trained on the language that would be used in a dental clinical setting, right? When we look at assessment in the age of AI, we've got 2 chemistry professors who've teamed up to prepare their students to use AI tools to generate their own lectures about course materials, and then also to use that same set of tools to help design labs related to those lectures. So really using AI to build active learning into the curriculum. Then in assessment in the age of AI, several faculty in writing heavy classes have been using AI to start to generate alternate assessments and alternate grading strategies so that students can participate in the grading of their own learning. And then in the micro-credentials in the non-tech space, for example, our 3D arts program has been using this to develop a micro-credential that really takes students all the way from the design phase through the creation, sort of moving between the digital and the 3D world of art, including developing pitches for prospective galleries or clients. So this is what we're trying to do, is to help each discipline really engage with AI at the level that meets the needs of their specific fields. Then we also have had some real interesting engagement with our college computing group, where they're developing a career coach that's specific to Nova. They've also been providing agentic training to various work groups across offices to try to think through how, sort of using some language that was shared this morning in our student services convening, that, how can you get AI to do the dishes and the laundry so that you have time to do the work that you really are hired to do, which is work directly with our students. And then, of course, we're integrating various technologies into our backend support, whether it's Raptor for evaluating transcripts or Ad Astra for scheduling and room assignments. Next slide. So we also look outside of Nova, and one of our amazing computer science professors, Amelia Butu, who also was one of the first at Nova to develop a cross-disciplinary AI course, AI in Ethics, working with the folks in philosophy, is leading the Virginia Community College System Community of Practice on AI pathways. We're also part of AAC&U's Pedagogy, AI, and the Curriculum Institute, and this again is a cross-disciplinary group of faculty members really thinking through how to integrate, again, AI into their pedagogy and across our curriculum. And we've been engaging in some university partnerships, two notable ones, one with Virginia State University on building a four-year degree, a computer science degree with an AI focus, and then with George Washington University on a project called Leveraging AI Skills, Attraction and Research, and it's called LASER. So LASER is really looking at how can you use AI to sort of drill down into those skill sets and then elevate them so that they're visible. And our focus has been on the humanities. So as you can see, we're really thinking broadly about how to develop those AI workforce skills for our students, but also for our employees who serve them. Next slide. And I think we're going to take questions at the end, so I'm happy to turn it over to my colleague.
I need to see if, Blake, are there any questions yet in the chat, maybe for President Kress?
Nothing quite yet. Oh, wait, one just came up.
Okay.
What skills and competencies will the students gain after completing these certificates? And two, this individual would like to know the depth of knowledge that it covers, depending on the field of the individuals come from or plan to pursue, to provide evidence. Students will be able to do this after taking the certificate, or are these general certifications in AI? So this is a multi-part question.
Yes. So I'm probably not the person to tell you exactly what the skills and competencies are. But what I can tell you is that we've got multiple levels of these certifications. So an important thing to know about Fast Forward is that we cannot offer a certification unless we have evidence that employers are hiring with that certification. So essentially, the employers have already done the validation of the certification and what it measures, because they're saying, yes, if a student gets this particular certification, that's something we'll hire off of. So I think when we're talking about workforce competencies, that's really important, is to make sure the employers are at the table giving you their information about what is actually valuable to them. Because I'm sure many of the folks on the Zoom, we've had that experience as well, that we might be sitting with employers who'll say, we want people with AI skills, and then you ask a little bit more and concrete information back. So that's one of the powers of the Fast Forward program. The other is that we've got multiple levels of these certifications. The first one is always sort of that entry level general competency. And then as they go forward, there are deeper and deeper competencies, and sometimes very specific, as the AWS certifications would suggest.
All right. Any other questions, Blake, for President Kress at this time?
None others have come through quite yet.
Okay. Now, without further ado, We'll go to President Harrison of Columbus State Community College.
Good afternoon, everybody. At Columbus State, we always start with gratitude, and I want to thank Beth and Fran and Sylvia and Blake and the whole team for pulling this together. This CCPI-STEM initiative has become a great learning community, and I appreciate everybody leaning in and being so actively involved. But you all are amazing. Thank you for making it easy for us to be part of this. A little bit about Columbus State. We serve over 40,000 students a year. We're the largest community college in the state of Ohio. We actually serve students from throughout the state, literally all 88 counties. Partnerships are a big part of what we do, and work closely with our K-12 districts, with our university partners, and with employers. And that really threads through all of our strategies, including our AI strategy. Beth, next slide, please. Broad overview of our AI strategic framework. The first point is responsible AI usage. I'm going to go into some depth on that today. The workforce preparation is certainly top of mind. And then how do we use AI to run our business? We're in the early stages of figuring that out. I'm not going to spend time on that today, but it is something that we're still we're eager, frankly, to move forward on that in a strategic way. Next slide, please. The first thing we did starting last summer was really put together a policy and practice committee. Beth, you can go ahead and advance this slide. And this really is giving us a strategic framework from which to really engage people and learn together. I need to point out that we got a lot going on at Columbus State, including being literally days away from converting to Workday student. And a lot of the people that are on this slide are involved in that as well as a bunch of other stuff we got going on. So having this cross-functional team has been really important, so that we can, again, learn together and really assess the pace of change. So this group was put together last summer. They're meeting on a regular basis. The co-chairs that are indicated here really are together all the time, trying to work this through. I do have Alan Krause, our Vice President of Marketing and Enrollment Services, on with me here to correct me when I mess up and to help answer questions. But Alan has been really spearheading a lot of this strategic work. Next slide, please.
Question while we're on this slide. You have Mary Ryder as AI faculty fellow. Is that with the League for Innovation, or is that something else?
No, that's internal. We've got an internal faculty fellow process, and Mary applied, was actually pretty competitive with some really good faculty who raised their hand wanting to do it. And Mary has been really an amazing thought leader in this space, but that's an internal designation.
Great. Thank you.
Next slide, please, Beth. So the committee has come up with 5 focus areas, and I'm going to go through each of them briefly and answer any questions that you might have. First is in syllabus transparency. And faculty are working, again, these are all disciplines, around where AI isn't a fit for a particular course, where it's conditional or contextual, and where it is encouraged or even required. And we're working through that now, but that's the taxonomy that the committee is working toward. The student literacy and fluency piece is a priority for us for a number of reasons. First of all, the group has come together around integrating AI into our institutional learning goals. So as opposed to it being something off to the side, they're really building it in as a college-wide priority. So faculty from all disciplines will really be following the same playbook, at least from a principal standpoint. Next slide, please, Beth. I won't go into the gory details, but here are the changes that are being being considered in our institutional learning goals. We've got a total of 8 broad areas in our long-established ILGs, and to have AI built into critical thinking, ethical reasoning, technological competence, culture and social awareness, and professional life skills is something that, again, our faculty and staff are really spending some time on. We do think the changes to we expect the changes to our ILGs will be adopted this semester. Next academic year, 26 and 27, then will be curriculum updates of building these competencies into the curriculum and building in the proper assessments associated with that. And then in fall of 27 is when we'll really launch our AI-infused curriculum college-wide. Next slide, please. The next focus is on our focus with employee. Oh, I need to go back. One other thing, I mentioned partnerships before. Another reason that it's important for us to embed this, and this happened coincidentally, but we've got a strong partnership with Ohio State. And it's actually become even stronger in the last year, where we've got a scholarship program where all of our graduates who meet an income threshold will go to Ohio State for free. Ohio State concurrently announced a commitment that every graduate in every major will have a pretty high level of AI fluency. So our AI across the curriculum approach here is important, because we don't want our students to go to Ohio State behind. We actually want them to go in leading. I think we've got an opportunity to do that. Thank you, Beth. Sorry about that. Employee literacy and fluency is our next. If we go to the next slide, please, is our next focus area for our committee. And we're in the early stages of launching this. We think we're going to have an initial training module up and running yet this semester. We've got our college-wide in-service professional development day next month, and are using that to launch a lot of our AI work. But we've also got a path that I'll talk about in a minute, where our computer science faculty have a module that they're working on that would be a college-wide professional development opportunity. Faculty use guidelines is something that, frankly, we expect to be an ongoing process for this work. They are focusing on course design and production of course materials, grading and assessment, portfolio and employment documentation, and ongoing communication with students and colleagues, really looking to identify the risk, articulate a range of possible approaches, and think through governance channels. So this is, again, this won't be a one and done thing. This is something that our folks are leaning into. There'll be an ongoing process. But we've gotten off to a really good start in that regard. And then our responsible use of generative AI is really, as a college, how we can position ourselves to, I'll say it this way, use it to our advantage, but concurrently we're playing both offense and defense when it comes to AI. And that's not always an ambiguous place that people are comfortable in. But our folks really are leaning in on how this impacts our college data, what are the required approval processes, what tools do we want to use. We're a Microsoft organization. Copilot's not our favorite AI tool, so we're trying to sort through what that might mean. But this responsible use group, including relationship with our student code of conduct, is something that we are focused on. Next slide, please. So transitioning then to our focus on the workforce, and Beth, if we could go one more. It's really a tiered approach where we've got a stackable process that we're working through in terms of an AI certificate that really has been up and running for a while, leading to, so we start with AI literacy, then to AI proficiency, and leading to an AI engineering technician role. We do have an associate degree that we're working toward. The first step is the certificate, again, that's been in place for some time in our non-credit space. And we've really got an opportunity there, I think, to build on that as essentially the first step of our associate degree. So the non-credit program transitioning to credit focuses on things like introduction to AI, machine learning, introduction to data science, Python programming, natural language processing. Microsoft Power Apps is something that they really focus on, but we're aligning these with employer needs in automation, data, and AI operations. And as I said, it really gives us a framework for kind of the technical first half of our associate degree. So far, it has attracted a lot of incumbent workers and career changers. So we've got, I think, some good momentum in that regard. Our AAS degree is something that it's probably not going to be through HLC until next spring, but we are launching it, at least the courses, some of the courses this fall. So we'll have students in that degree program starting this fall. Our faculty had this up and running, or had this started really a couple of years ago. And then last year we got a National Science Foundation grant that has put them over the finish line. We'll start this fall again with AI foundations and machine learning, but move forward with a comprehensive associate degree that will really align with employer needs in healthcare, in finance, logistics, and the public sector. We're the state capital, and there's a big need for that. And we're working closely with our university partners because we expect this AAS to align with the bachelor's degrees that they're developing as well. The third element is this certificate in AI fluency and literacy. That's in the early stages, but that, among other things, will likely be the path that our own employees go through. And I think we have a really good, our IT faculty have a great reputation in that regard. So it will, I think, provide a friendly place for conversations around responsible and ethical use of AI-enabled productivity and communication, and really give a kind of a universal on-ramp for anybody that may be a little concerned about AI. So this integrated pathway is something that we really are trying to focus on and build the skills as the technology advances. We know this is going to be a moving target, so folks are coming in with that mindset. But with everything else going on, I think the tone has been really positive, and people have been pretty eager learners. And I appreciate, again, I'll call out Alan for the tone that he and his team have set in terms of really making it a collaborative and co-creation process. Last slide, I think, Beth. So this is us, Alan and me. If you want to talk further, if you have any questions, or if you're doing anything that we should learn from, please reach out.
So we have 20 minutes left for questions as well as the poll. So I'm going to check with Dr. Urbach to see if there are any questions coming in through the chat as
Yes.
I launch the poll.
Another one was just posted from Amy. How do these AI certifications help students transfer to a four-year college with AI fluency from a credibility standpoint?
Well, we're in the early stages of that. And for our AAS degree, that is something that we are doing intentionally, because while we're building this, our university partners are doing the same thing. So we had been on a path specifically with Ohio State to develop an articulation agreement for our Associate of Applied Science in Information Technology. They didn't have a bachelor's degree where that landed, and they are making changes to recognize that as a needed next step. And we're close to that work. The AI piece then is going to be integrated with that. It hasn't happened linearly, so we're kind of, I don't want to say tacking it onto that, but we're really trying to make sure that that is built in. The broad answer to your question is it's a co-creation model. We're working with the university partners, especially in this case, Ohio State, to make sure that the decisions we make with respect to our curriculum are going to be, we want our students to transfer as juniors into this program, and we're making sure that that's the case.
Can I add one aspect to this too that I don't think that either President Harrison or I really touched on is the changing student demographic that we'll be encountering that is coming straight from high school. So two of our largest districts, and we live in a very populous part of Virginia. So one of the districts is, I think, one of the top 10 in the country. They have both signed partnerships with OpenAI to integrate AI tools into K-12 beginning as early as third grade. So I do think one of the challenges that we'll all be facing when we think about how to fully integrate AI competencies across our curriculum is that more and more of our students, whether they're coming to us straight from high school or from the world of work where they are already using these tools and have an expectation to be able to use them, they will bring those expectations to our institutions. So having those conversations both with your K-12 partners, but also with industry partners, I think is going to be critical to thinking about the audience that you're serving. And then certainly to President Harrison's comments with your transfer universities. So George Mason University, that is our largest transfer partner. We send about 3,800 students a year to Mason. They were the first in the country to hire a chief AI officer. So that gives you a sense of where they're going with this. So I do think our position is sort of being in that interstitial space in the middle between K-12 and employers and universities. We need to keep our eye on what's happening in all of those sectors.
That's a great point about K-12.
Would you like to add anything to that, President Harrison?
Well, and it lands differently, right? I mean, you've got some districts that at least locally tend to trend towards affluent districts, and some who aren't as early adopters. And the risk that we run is this becomes even more of a wedge between those who are better prepared and those who aren't. So staying close to our K-12 partners so that we know what experience graduates from each district are coming in with is something that we're trying to stay ahead of. We've got a statewide program here called College Credit Plus, where students can take college coursework while they're still in high school. We serve 10,000 students a year in that space. So we've got those lines of communication going. But there's an equity issue that existed before AI that if we don't stay ahead of it, it's going to get worse.
I agree. As you were talking, I was thinking about the digital divide when the internet came on, right? Those who had access and who didn't have access. I think now it's an AI divide. And I think that gap is going to be even wider if we don't do something about it early on in this foray. Any other questions, Blake?
Yes, one more has come through. Are we thinking about the role of parents in AI literacy and how to bring them into this so they don't get left behind?
Well, for Columbus State, I wouldn't say we've got a strategy around that, but we talk a lot about having a two-generation strategy. And we know that a lot of these decisions aren't being made by the student alone. We also know that some of the students bring their parents along on the journey, so we want to make sure that's accessible. One of the things, and we haven't talked about this a lot openly, but that is on my mind, is we really look at how to use AI to run our business. I think that element of it is going to be important, and how we communicate with families and how we hopefully use it to be easier to do business with. And I think that can, again, be a family strategy as opposed to an individual strategy.
And I would add that much like Columbus State, Nova offers free college courses to students while they're still in high school. At this point, I think we're close to 18,000 students that we serve. As we're working with those students in high schools, we're often invited into the schools for various kinds of nights. And one of the things we promote at those evening events is our Fast Forward program, which is that industry recognized credential program that is subsidized by the Commonwealth of Virginia, so that parents could pick up these, both the generalized AI certification, but also more specific ones, probably at limited to no cost to them, to really help to build their skill set. I do think that's one of the concerns that we certainly have across our region. I know one of our senators, Senator Warner, is putting forward sort of the US creating a commission to look at what's going to happen with these technologies, because they are substantially changing the world of work around us right now. And we know that individuals who have those skill sets are more likely to find jobs and also to keep their jobs. So we're really happy to use those touch points with students while they're still in high school to outreach to their parents as well around obtaining these credentials that could benefit them.
Thank you both for weighing in on that. Any other questions, Blake?
Not yet.
That was a no.
Can I ask a question of the folks who are in attending? I'm really curious what folks are seeing in their local economies. I noticed in the introduction that there were a lot of different places represented in today's attendance. So are you, where you're located, seeing AI changing the job hiring landscape, the job availability landscape, the required skill sets? Because Northern Virginia is its own economy that's even very different than, let's say, Southwest Virginia. So I'm curious about the attendees, what they're actually seeing locally.
Great
So maybe they
question.
could put it in the chat.
Yeah, or you're welcome to come off mute and have a conversation. We can do it old school, right? When people used to talk back and forth. We have something in the chat here. Did we have a response here? Good question. And in northern Wisconsin, we're not seeing any employer in the trades looking for AI skills yet. Anybody else want to either come off mute? Okay, we have something. Yes, when I speak to employers, they usually look at more human skills and adaptability. And that's Amy. Where are you from, Amy? Oh, okay, UCNJ. Okay, very nice, New Jersey. My old stomping ground. I I actually, anybody else? Okay, they're coming in, Ann. Okay. Jean, I oversee all manufacturing programs for our college, including 4 welding programs. At the start of the year, our advisory committees expressed, let's see, little use of AI, but there's been more conversation about using it in the spring committee meetings. And where are you from, Jean? Before we move to Deb. And Deb, where are you from? Deb is saying some employers are starting to use AI more in the last 3 months. So I guess it's okay. We're both in Wisconsin. Okay. Northwood Tech in Wisconsin, same as Deb. Okay. Very good. Anybody else?
There was
I
one
always
more
have a
that got
question.
lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
Stephanie says we are rural and in Montana. Oh, I just lost it. Uh, Mostly small manufacturers, builders, healthcare, so not much yet.
And somebody from South Carolina, Vince. We're now have a partnership with 4 universities and technical colleges to train high school teachers to teach a 4-year AI high school curriculum. Very good. And San Jacinto College, Houston. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
would flip this as well to say that one of the things that I'm interested, if you're seeing this at Columbus State, one of the things we're tracking with our students to some of the comments in the chat is we're seeing students' feet sort of moving from the liberal arts and computer science based on what they're hearing in the economy about sort of the dearth of programmer jobs into healthcare, into the skilled trades, and then also into education, which is interesting. We can see that the peak, sort of the increase in those really started to pick up post, I think, a lot of the common understanding or maybe misunderstanding of how AI is going to impact the economy. So each of those areas is up double digits year on year, and they were up double digits last year as well. So I do think that's another side of this conversation is that students are looking out there, talking to their friends, watching the media, picking up what they pick up, and they're starting to choose their own career paths based on what their understanding is, fields that are more AI resistant, if you will.
right.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the same trends. Sorry.
This is Jennifer Wimbish, and I'm on the
Jennifer?
phone. My question is, are you seeing resistance to the whole AI movement with faculty and people on the campus? And if so, what are you doing with that? And if not, what did you do to make that comfortable for faculty?
I guess that means you want me to go first?
Oh,
Yeah, the silence.
Yes. So it's a personal journey in a lot of ways. I mean, people are like any technology or any change are going to come to it essentially at their own pace. What we have tried to do is keep the conversation as open as possible. We had a really powerful speaker in on last fall to kind of kick off the year, focus on AI from an academic perspective, and are closing it in service next month with an employer leader who's going to talk about the impact on the workforce. And we're trying to create a path that people, I won't say can come along at their own pace because some of this is inevitable, but we're doing it in an inclusive a way as we can. And we've got faculty throughout our disciplines who have a healthy mix of being early adopters in their personal life, and so they know enough about it to know, again, the pluses and the minuses. And for them to help bring their colleagues along is the tone we're trying to set. And I think we're off to a good start there. But this is going to be a journey. There's no question about it.
And I would echo that. Our Center for Advancing Teaching Excellence, Kate, adopted a framework from, I think, the University of Michigan, which it looks like a little pyramid. And basically, faculty are invited to sort of put themselves in that pyramid where they see themselves in relationship to artificial intelligence, right? And so it goes everything from apprehensive to approaching to adopting or abstaining, and then all the way up really through advancing and helping to shape the institution's engagement with it. So, our position is if a faculty member does not want to use AI at all, that's totally within their purview. But to President Harrison's point, there needs to be a recognition that that individual decision does not change what seems to be happening all around us, right? Which is that, as I often say, you don't have to like AI, you don't have to love AI, you don't have to hate AI. It doesn't mean, quite honestly, that you're probably not using AI right now. I mean, every single tool that we use on a regular basis, whether it's our email, our GPS, any of those things, if you've bought a ticket through Ticketmaster, they're using AI to surge price your tickets, right? Wherever you engage, you're using AI. And our thinking is that we want our students to be as wise user as possible. We also very much want our students to be able to be creators, not just consumers, or consumed by this technology. So that's really the way that we're approaching it.
Can I ask Alan from our team to jump in? He put a couple things in the chat that I think are relevant.
I was just going to ask that same thing.
Well, just added that in the context of resistance on campuses, President Harrison, I think, captured well where our faculty are. But I just noted that we have some students who have expressed lots of ambivalence or worse about AI. These are largely younger students, some of whom have refused to use it, in classes where instructors have assigned things that require the use of AI. And generally it is, I think, people who feel like I made plans and skilled up in an area that appears to be at risk because of this technology.
Very good. Thank you, Alan. Looks like we have a question from Amy. What criterion would you base your preference on the choice of AI tool to be integrated in use at your institution?
I don't even know if we're in the early stages of that, because the people that would help lead that decision are immersed in Workday right now. But long term, I think a big part of that will be tied to both functionality and data integrity. Again, we're a ways away, I think, from making that decision. Right now, we're a co-pilot, we're a Microsoft institution, and don't have a clear path as to when that may change.
And I would echo that and say that, we're a state institution. And so in some respects, what we do is controlled by what the state contracts are. So Copilot, Gemini, those are the two tools that we have readily access to. And so one of the things we've been focused on is trying to encourage individuals to use the tools they already have access to. So don't worry about running around and trying to find the latest and greatest. You already have some of this stuff on your desktop, and the level of functionality that it offers is really pretty high. So we're trying to focus on helping our employees to think through what they can do with what they already have at their fingertips.
And I would add to that is that the tools are getting better every day, right? There's kind of a competition out there between what is the best LLM. And so I echo what both presidents said, just use what you have access to. Okay. All right, Deb, let's see. Seems models work best for different tasks. Super frustrating for those like me who know a few, but I'd love a roadmap. I think we would all love an AI roadmap, and I think it's a journey, as I think President Harrison said. So, Alan, do you want to come on and say what you said in the chat?
I was proposing to kind of go in another direction, but one of the things that I and the committee members at Columbus State are hearing a lot about and talking about are tools like, if anyone is familiar with Boodlebox, it is it's, as I understand it, is a tool that faculty can use, kind of like a sandbox, with AI tools. Gives instructors the opportunity to assign things within that sandbox, assign students to use the AI for certain things, and they can see exactly how it's being used. I think it is proposed as a partial solution to integrity concerns, but also a great learning tool. And I'm reading a lot about it, but I haven't encountered any institutions using it yet, or even flirting with using it. So I'm just curious. I'm seeing lots of recognition, but nobody's raising their hand saying that they're doing it.
So our last CCPI-STEM, actually it was our Thought Leaders Dialogue in January, talked about Boodlebot. So that is online and you can look at that. And there was high praise for that. They were actually using it. And I can't remember the institution off the top of my head that is using it. But to your point, it's a safe space, right? So that any of the institutional knowledge does not leak out into the LMM and could be used by somebody else. So
Can
that's
you
kind of the
spell that?
sandboxing.
Can you
Pardon?
spell that?
Boodlebox
Yep.
is in the chat. It's in the chat, but it's B as in boy, OOD as in dog, LE, box, BOX.
Okay, I didn't know it was in the chat. I'm looking at faces. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I know. We all came from, yeah. Boodlebox, it's in there. BOODLEBOX.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Well, it looks like we have 1 minute left. So I would like to take this minute to, is Boodlebox in Blackboard or Canvas? I believe it can be integrated with the elements, right, Ellen?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. And our speaker previously they used Canvas, so we know that it works with Canvas. I don't know about Blackboard, but it probably is. It's probably through an LTI integration, right? Technical term. So I think we're down to 30 seconds. So I would just like to thank our two presidents I know you're very busy and trying to figure out AI, and we appreciate you taking the time this Friday afternoon to share what each of you are doing at your respective community colleges. And we don't have time to share the results of the last poll, but it looks like you nailed it. You got 4s and 5s for all the questions. Intend to share the resources I acquired. Can you apply this knowledge that you learned through the webcast? Was the webcast on par with my expectations? Were the presenters knowledgeable? So thank you very much for an excellent presentation. And like I said before, the recording of this will be on the CCPI-STEM.org website in about a week. We have a video editor who wraps our CCPI branding around it. Okay, so we got many thanks. We've got a lot of thanks coming in for you, Presidents Harrison and Kress.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, all.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
Bye-bye.
great weekend.